when you need to get a hold of somebody about some kind of issue you're having with the government, whether it's local or federal or whatever, and you can call me and I can be there for you, I get excited about that.
Mm.
I want to do that. I want to be that guy for Altoona. I would love to have my full-time job being in an office right there on Beale Avenue, just like 6 blocks from where I grew up by the Jaffa, being the guy that runs around Altoona helping folks out when they have issues. I want to do that. And then the part-time job is when I'm going to Harrisburg, and I want to work to further the cause of working class people and making sure that we get the leg up we need. We have had too long bad public policy that allows bad actors to use money and greed to influence the way that our politics works, and it works against us. And that can change. At the state level, there are things we can do to make life better for the people here, and I want to do that too.
Pull up a chair, set the world aside. Let's find the truth we keep trying to hide.
Welcome to Across the Table. I'm your host, James Finochio. And today we will have with us Caleb McCoy, who is the Democratic candidate for the 79th District of Pennsylvania. Caleb, it's great to have you with us, man.
Hey, it's cool to be out of here, man. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Caleb, you know, this is a special election, and I know it's really hard to get people out for special elections, even midterms.
Yeah.
Especially when there's not like a national candidate or somebody big on the ticket. And so I don't even think I wasn't aware that there was a special election on March 17th until I seen it on Facebook.
Yeah, no. Well, you're in good company. We were just out today knocking on doors. You know, the number of people that just didn't even know this is happening has, that's definitely the biggest hurdle that we're trying to overcome is just making sure people know, like, hey, this is actually going on. We've got the opportunity to, get everybody out to vote. And, eh, I don't blame anybody that's not paying attention. It's exhausting paying attention to politics, much less like try to state and local stuff. But yeah, the reason that it's on this kind of weird day. So like Lou Schmidt, he was the representative before I was. He won a judgeship back in November, and then he didn't take that judge seat until the beginning of January. And so then after he takes the seat, that's when he resigned from the actual position there. And so that's when they get to actually put the election on the calendar, and that can't be, there's time constraints on that. So it ended up being St. Patrick's Day, March 17th. They told me that. I was like, oh man, who wants to vote on St. Patrick's Day? But
Get it done early.
Well, that's the other thing. Like, it's a Pennsylvania law that the bars can't be open while polls are open.
Oh,
Yeah. So like till 8 p.m., the bars will be closed.
oh, I did not realize that.
There's just a certain percentage of the population going to be mad at me from the jump for that one. I didn't have any control over it.
That was the worst idea in the world. Who thought of that?
Oh man, I don't know, but they're gonna have a lot of angry emails, I suspect.
Yeah,
But,
I suspect you're right.
Anyway, I figured, we're all things considered, St. Patrick's Day, a pretty good day to elect a McCoy. So
Yeah.
it's not all bad.
So, I never even realized how much a state representative does until like post-COVID. I was a union worker and like a lot of the union guys, when you're doing bigger jobs, you get laid off in between until the next big job starts up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, post-COVID, nobody could get unemployment.
Yeah.
And so we had to deal with Lou Schmidt to get our unemployment because you could not get it.
And that sounds like a negative.
Mm.
I'll tell you what, we were fortunate to have somebody that was like had a mind for public service like that. There were a lot of other places where the unemployment office is closed and nobody stepped up.
Yeah.
Here in Blair County, we had Lou Schmidt, and he stepped up. He ran it basically as the unofficial unemployment office out of his office. I mean, like
He
that.
absolutely did.
That is awesome. He was telling me about how he was getting phone calls from all kind of places all over the state because
Yeah.
word was getting around that, hey, this guy and his office will help you out. That's the kind of thing. Actually, that was like that was the one of the examples that my grandma gave because
Mhm.
she had one of her tenants had needed unemployment. My grandma owns a few apartments around town. One of her tenants was trying to get unemployment, and she had actually helped them, and they had to go through Lou Schmidt's office. She gave me a number of other examples of things like I should just tell the story.
Yeah.
So
Let's hear it. Let's hear it, Caleb.
well, it was the reason I wanted to run. It's kind of like a funny, like I same as you, like didn't really know what a state rep does. We saw the election was coming up. I go to meetings with this group called Indivisible. They're like a
Mhm.
nonpartisan political group. They like to, especially with Trump, they're pretty upset with the stuff he's doing. So like I was out there with that group, and they were talking about the upcoming elections, and do we have people that are running, and do we want to try to endorse anybody? And one of the ladies there, her name is Denise. She was like, "Oh, well, geez, I'm sorry, I keep bumping your stuff
That's
here."
all right, big guy.
She was telling me like, "Oh, well, you like talking to people, you should run." I was like, not that I've, like to be a state rep, like I
Yeah.
don't think so.
Yeah.
Like whatever, but okay. But at the same time, that's the kind of thing somebody says kind of sticks in your brain a little
Yeah.
bit. So a couple days later, I was hanging out with my grandma. I try to go down and see her regularly. She's actually right up over the hill here in on Bellmead Drive over there.
Oh, okay.
And she she was like, "Oh, well, what seat would you be running for?" I was like, "Oh, it would be Lou Schmidt's old seat." She was
Mhm.
like, "Oh, Lou Schmidt. I love him. He's marvelous." Which is like a profoundly strange thing for my grandma to say, "Oh, you
Uh-huh.
love a local politician."
Yeah.
What happened? But she was telling me exactly that. Like, hey, listen, I had this issue with one of my folks needed help with unemployment. And
Mhm.
my grandma's the type, like she runs her folks to church. She helps them with their laundry. She'll run them down to unemployment office, like no problem. Like she loves helping her tenants out with stuff like that. She was telling me she had like a really old truck for a while. She needed help with the registration. She was having issues with one of her apartment buildings with the way the taxes were working. And so she had to go to his office. And like he ran that office really well. He genuinely cared. He himself would interact like he was part of that and he made it work and he was really helpful. That that story for my grandma, I was like, "Oh, that is awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was a guy that like has an office when you have problems with the government you can go and talk to. I want to be that guy. That's
Uh,
awesome. Like it's so like the bureaucracy of local government is so frustrating and it's so
mhm.
hard to like interact with it. It can be very opaque, but like, oh, there's a guy. And like, I after I talked with her, I was like, that actually sounds awesome. I would love to do that job, like working just for the folks here in Altoona. And so I went and I met with him. I ended up talking with him for like 3 hours. He's just easy to
Yeah.
talk to. He's just a really
Really
cool
good
guy.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was, how did you run your office? How did you find people that were so great at helping people? And like, I talked to him about all of that and he told me about, his experience with that. And I was like, dude, that's just so exactly what I want to do. Like
Mhm.
I was really, that kind of like serving your community in like a very practical, functional, like, yes, I'm here for you when you call me kind of way sounds incredible. Yeah.
And that's what I want people to realize, like how important your state represent. This is more important than voting for president. Is the person who, when you're having issues when it comes to your state government, they go to bat for you.
Yeah.
Like, so what do you feel that, or what qualifications do you have that the film makes you a good fit for this job?
So like as far as like being in politics, none. I'm
Right.
a nurse, I'm a veteran, I like working for people, I want to do a good job. That is really the start and end of like what makes me a good candidate. I don't have experience in politics. I don't know, I'm going to have to learn from other people how to put forward legislation. I'm going to have to go in and learn the structures of things as I'm doing it. I actually just met with AC Stickle earlier this week. A very vulnerable conversation like, hey, I'm running for this seat. It's the same seat that he might run for in the spring. I might be
Mhm.
running against him in 6 months. I had to sit
Right.
down and be like, please tell me what you do. Please tell me how this is structured and what everybody does and how I can be supportive for it and what I can be doing to make it better. And like that's
Mhm.
like it's an incredibly vulnerable kind of feeling to kind of put that out there, but like that is the truth. Like I don't have experience in the realm of politics. I have
Mhm.
experience working for people. I have experience um being the guy that can get shit done. I worked when I did home care nursing, I covered 9 counties.
Mhm.
A lot of, I did a lot of case management. I did a lot of like run around and make ends meet kind of stuff for folks. I did when I went into long-term care. Um, I did the infection control nursing throughout COVID. That was a lot of like just make it work, get it done kind of stuff. And whenever I left that job, I started doing travel work, and I ended up kind of having the same role where we have an emergency at one of our facilities.
Mhm.
We need you to go out there and be the director for a couple of months. And like that was a lot of what I was doing while I was traveling for work. And so I think that I would be able to step into this role, grab the bull by the horns and learn it as I'm going. I'm not coming into it with really a lot of pre-salient knowledge.
Now, are you able to have people on your team that can assist you with that?
Yeah, actually, it has been crazy how many people have just like right around me. It's been
Yeah.
awesome. I actually have I have a guy out of Harrisburg that's been helping me a lot. I have a guy out of Philly that's been like the guy helping me with phone calls and this is how to reach out to people and this is how to do the fundraising part and this is who you're going to reach out to try to like gin up volunteer work. And
Mhm.
I have the Blair County chairs Dem sorry, Blair County Democrats chair, Jillian. She's been working with my campaign and helping me with all of that. I We've got like a small army of volunteers and like it's been really wild how many people have been able to kind of come around and support. And for the stuff where I just need to go learn from the people doing it, yeah, like across party lines, I was kind of worried that I would run into like some party issue
Mhm.
stuff. But like, no, Lou Schmidt was like, yeah, I'll come sit down with you for a few hours,
Yeah,
explain what I did and how you can do it. AC Stickle was like, yeah, man, come and learn. Like, this is what we do. This is how we're making it work. This is how we could be doing it better. Like, I think that, you know, based on my experience so far, I think I'll be able to continue kind of having that kind of relationship with people.
very good.
Yeah.
Uh, so what would you say that the values are that define your campaign and your candidacy?
So, like, I'm from a working class family.
Mhm.
Um, I'm the oldest of 7. All of my brothers and sisters, with throughout a variety of different fields and settings, like they are all working class people. Everyone I know, right? We're all part of the same structure. And I feel like for the last 20 years, I've been seeing our ability to like make ends meet be like beaten down more and more. And I feel like real wages have been stagnant, like you might make a little more money, but inflation goes up so much and like the cost of housing has been going up so much and like there are so many things working against working class people in like our current society, and I really feel like a lot of those things are just being allowed to develop because of like bad public policy.
Mhm.
Like why, so UPMC comes in, they buy our hospital, they promise all kind of stuff, but
That
then
they
at the
never
end,
deliver on.
whew, not only do they not deliver on it, they do the opposite. The nurses are fighting to get base pay scale increases. They're making, like overall in real wage terms, they're making less than they were before the buyout.
Yeah.
our physician group. They bought our physician group. And yeah, they made a very nice building over there at the Station Medical Center. And you know what? You can go stand in that really nice building for hours and hours and hours. And you can't set an appointment beforehand. It is so frustrating. Like the
I
quality
agree.
and like same thing when it comes to like you said you're a union worker. Unions and like the working class solidarity that like allows for like collective bargaining and for like us to like collectively demand more and demand living wages, that has just been crushed down more and more and more. And now we have the gig economy. You don't get any benefits. You don't actually work for a company. Now you're a private contract. Like this is like it is like we are heading into like neo-feudalism where like we're all like sharecroppers trying to like we have to rent the equipment that we use to till the land and we have to sell the crops back to the people that own the land that rent us the equipment. You know, it's like all of America is they're trying to turn it into a company town. You know,
Yeah.
like like we're all they're trying if they had their way they'd pay us in script. You know, they would just call it crypto.
I get paid in paint.
But like my philosophy is that like and I'm sorry, I've kind of veered wildly from the original question, but the original question was like, what is my guiding philosophy?
Right.
My guiding philosophy is like, we could make public policy work for working class people.
Right.
We could give every person in America a leg up.
Right.
Not every person in America. Every person in America that's not a billionaire. We could be doing better. And that, you know, like that is like kind of the guiding principle that I use a lot when I'm kind of trying to figure out what policies I really want to engage with.
Mhm.
And that guides me whether I'm talking about how I want to, you know, make sure that our political process is more democratic and we move big money out of politics in Pennsylvania.
Ooh, I agree with you there.
It's crazy. Like I didn't even realize until I was running, like there is no, so like a corporation cannot donate money, but they can make a PAC in 10 minutes and donate all the money they want. Same thing with any individual. Like Jeffrey Yass could donate $1 billion to me.
Mhm.
That's insane.
It's crazy.
It's absolutely absurd. The idea that we wouldn't have any kind of regulation over the money that like you're completely, it is so anti-democratic. And like that takes power away from working class people when all of the power in politics comes from the money that you can spend, and the money you can spend comes from a few really wealthy people.
See, that's what's crazy to me is it was not too long ago that I believe the Supreme Court recognized corporations as an
Yeah.
identity that they could freely express their will and contribute as much as they wanted to anyone.
A corporation using a political action committee has a First Amendment right to donate money to political. This is the kind of like lawyer think that like they think so much along these lines theoretically that they wrap completely around and they can't. It's the same kind of thing with like the skills machines.
Yeah.
Like it's a slot machine. I know a slot machine when I see a slot machine, you know, like
because I want to play it. All the bells and whistles. Yeah, I could get rich.
Like the idea that like, oh no, that's not a slot machine, that's a skills machine is the kind of thing you could only possibly get to by being a lawyer. Like I
agree.
I can't wrap my brain around like how we've turned every corner store into
a vape shop and tobacco and head glass and
every single one of them, and every single one of them has got a small casino in the back now. Yep. That sucks.
And some kratom. Just saying.
No, you're right. Like it's crazy that we've kind of allowed this weird
thing, whatever it is.
Yeah, and it strikes me as the kind of thing that like you can only end up there if you're thinking purely theoretical, and you're always kind of floating 10 delineated steps from actually being on the ground and looking around you.
Yeah, and then putting all the money into politics, like that's something I definitely feel is like, hey man, all of you guys get this. If you're running for state rep, you get this amount of money. That's it. You can't go over that. You can't have more than that.
Yeah,
and then it equals it out.
we don't have to do it this way. Like
No,
this is a direct result of the policies we have in place, and it's not working for people. And they
no,
know it. They
no,
look around and people can see, like, the government doesn't work for me. I am not
no.
being prioritized by my government. Like, people can tell.
Yeah.
It's obvious.
When you have other countries that we give money to that have better healthcare systems, beautiful cities, and yet we're giving them money and yet we can't take care of our own communities, I find that to be disgusting.
Yeah. Yeah. I get very frustrated with the way that like the actual, like, the good of the common person is not set at a priority at all. And we end up where the money goes to the rich and powerful influence the government to make sure that the money goes back to the rich and powerful, and we have been, like, cut out of the loop.
Do you know since 2020, there's been around $50 trillion transfer of wealth to the bottom to the top
Oh,
5%?
oh yeah,
That
absolutely.
was stunning numbers to me.
And we don't even, like, we always kind of think in terms of, like, a curve, like,
Yeah.
the wealthy. No, it is. Whew, it
Yeah.
is a
Spiked.
it is a rocket ship. It
Yeah.
is unbelievable how many of us are barely getting by.
Mm.
And the little gradient, oh, getting by to, like, barely getting by and, like, struggling and living miserably
Mm.
to living a good, comfortable life is not that much of a jump
Yeah.
compared to the absolute explosion that happens when you get up to that 1%. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Here's another thing. I believe it was on your page. Was dude, I want term limits on Congress and Senate. Like I want term limits. How many Gen Xers do you see? You still see baby boomers that have been in there longer than I've been alive, which is 50 years.
And that I also, I look at that and I also see, again, like, a problem where our democracy is being negatively affected, right? Because we are not being represented by people who actually
Have our best
have
interest in mind.
or that have our lived experience. Like, the
Yeah.
baby boomer generation, they grew up in a very different time where things were I can't really relate to the way that they see the world.
No.
Um and then, like, on top of that, I also think it is another example of, like, the wealth issue.
Mhm.
I am currently working part-time.
Right.
When I left my job in November, I was planning on just taking a couple of months just to work part-time, kind of get my feet on the ground, get involved in the things I wanted to get involved in. I didn't want to leave that job and jump right straight into another job that I was going to throw, because I'm one of those guys. I always,
Mhm.
like, oh, whatever I'm doing, like, and I specifically wanted to, and, well, look at me now,
Mhm.
but, like, I um I specifically am taking some time off. And if I wasn't taking this time off, I would never be able to participate in this kind of process. Like, this is so time consuming. It's so expensive. It requires you to like, have so many connections. And, like, I think that, like, even if it's not something where it is, like, necessarily like, oh, it's because of, this specific policy. Like, okay, but we have all of these things in place that benefit you if you are only working part-time, or
Mhm.
if you can take a long period of time off work, or if you are retired.
Mhm.
And so, like, I think that that's why you see so much more political interaction with people that are older. I think that, like, I don't know if term limits would really fix that. I certainly think at the federal level, term limits would fix some of the corruption, and I support them just on that basis. I don't know if it would really bring about the improved, like, bringing in of younger people into those office places. I feel like that's something that would more require what you were describing, where it's like, okay, every campaign gets this amount of money and no more. And, like, these kind of things, there are even some countries, they do stuff where if you're running for a campaign, they give you, like, a stipend, kind
Yeah.
of like jury duty. Yeah, you're not gonna get rich. But you'll be able to keep the lights on and you'll be able to eat ramen for a few months,
Yeah.
like, do your beans and ramen for a few months, you're running for office, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, but, like, I think those seem like more those seem like better options to me to get young people involved in politics. But I agree, like the gerontocracy we have is terrible. And
Mm,
like I think term limits would definitely benefit us,
yeah.
at least at the federal level.
Yeah. I mean, there's been like, I know, like State Rep Lou's been there for a while. It's interesting. I just noticed that Republicans have held the state representative seat since 1979, since Rick Geist.
And in 1979, that was a one-time thing. Before
Mhm.
that, it was Republicans going a long way back too. I think that, and this is where I might frustrate some people. I don't really care all that much about party.
Mhm.
I don't really like either party very much at all.
Yeah.
I tend to find that like when I am trying to look at what I want to see done, the people right now, as I'm looking around, the people that I could align myself with that would be able to help me accomplish that are Democrats. And so I'm going to run as a Democrat. But like, I don't really, especially when we're looking at like the big picture federal politics, and that's kind of what most people are usually paying attention to.
Yeah.
I don't think either party has served the American public very well in a long time.
I absolutely agree.
And I think that I think that's a result of like corporate capture, the same kind of moneyed
Yes.
interests affecting how, kind of that same feedback loop
Yeah.
that we were talking about before. Um, there was a time when like politics looked a lot like, hey, listen, if you vote for me, I'm going to do this for you.
Yeah.
And if I don't do that for you, you're not going to vote for me.
Right.
And like there's like this kind of understanding that like I am going to do specific things to make your life better.
Mhm.
And I don't think that we have seen that, at least at the federal level,
Mhm.
in a long time. I think that what we have is a lot of politics where neither party can really offer anything to the American people as far as like, hey, this is what I'll do for you. What we end up with is like a lot of like, hey, listen, vote for me because we share the same religion. We have the same the same things in common. We think similarly about this and that, or I'll say the right things about the right groups of people, or
Mhm.
we've got the same skin color. Isn't that cool? Like this weird stuff. Yeah, they don't say that out loud, but like there is this weird thing where like politics has become identity
Oh,
instead
absolutely.
of like politics is supposed to be the transaction.
Yes.
Like the idea that like transactional politics is bad and what we really need is like politics where it's all about, are you the good guy or the bad guy? Bullshit.
All of you guys are bad guys.
You
What are
are
you talking about?
politicians.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Put them in the same ring with the lawyers.
Yeah, like I don't buy that view of it, and I think that like we could really benefit from looking around us and being like, okay, are you doing something for me? Are you making my life better? If you're not, get out of the way cuz somebody will.
Yeah.
But we have to be able to have that person who's saying I will and I can and here's how I'm going to do it. Like I could raise at the state level, we could raise the minimum wage. At the state level, we could expand access to childcare. Like 70% of working families need childcare. Okay, when you go to single parents, male or female, it gets even higher, way above 90%.
Yeah.
But if you want state assistance with that, you've got to be making less than like $22,000 a year. And that's if you can even find it because we don't have enough childcare in this state for all the people that need it. Like it's even hard to get your children into these things. And like that's childcare. What about like parental leave? Like we all know that like okay, if a baby is born, the parents should be around. Like that
Yeah.
is a really crucial time. You really need to have parents together working together. That initial time is so important and it's so difficult. We don't have paid parental leave. Like women sometimes get it if they're not independent contractors working for,
Yeah.
working for one of these, but like men aren't granted that. We ought to have paid.
Never.
No, we ought to have, it's so important that they be there, like we ought to have that. That ought to be in law, if you're employing somebody and they have a baby, you've got to give them the time so that they can be there for their children. That's so crucial. And it's so common sense. Nobody out there thinks that, like, no, we don't really need that. No, everybody knows we need it. Why isn't it law?
Mhm.
You know, they're, making sure that we are, keeping the insurance companies accountable. Like right here, Altoona, we have seen the vertical integration where, they own the hospital, they own the pharmacy, they own the insurance company, they own the physician group, they own. Hey, how are we doing? Are we getting good care? Is it better for us? It's not. We've got to be able to use public policy to push back on that. And we've got to make sure these insurance companies are paying enough to keep our rural hospitals open. Running an ICU for 20 people costs X. Running a rural ICU in a smaller hospital for 10 people does not cost half of X.
No.
It costs almost just as much as X. Like you need to have like insurance that accounts for the fact that it's a smaller ICU in a rural area and they need to pay more, because otherwise we're going to lose our hospitals. There's 4 hospitals within just 2 hours of here that are going to close in the near future if we don't do something about it. We have Winburn, we have Huntington, we have Clarion, we have Myerston. Like these are all they're going to close. We used to have right up in Roaring Spring, Nason Hospital.
Yeah.
Nason Hospital was beloved for their labor and delivery services.
Absolutely.
They had such a good reputation, one that they earned.
Yeah.
And people would drive past 2 hospitals to go to Nason to have their children there because they were beloved for that.
Mm-hmm.
They shuttered it. They can't make enough money. These insurance companies are screwing them over. That is absurd. Why are we letting that happen? How many hospitals do we want to turn into urgent care centers? And listen, I know we're here in Altoona and like, Clarion is Clarion. No, man, they're coming to the nearest place.
Yeah.
If every hospital around us closed, you think the wait times are bad now, like you think it's hard to be seen at our group now, and like, there's no reason for us not to expect better. And like that, the idea that like promising that and being like, listen, this is something I'm going to fight for. And this is something working class people need. And this is something that we can fix. The billionaires be damned. That's the politics I want to see us embracing. That's something that we should be pushing towards, not standing away from.
Oh, well, healthcare. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I know it's a big can of worms.
Well, look at how much it accounts for on our federal budget. Number one, how much is that scams? And how since 2020 did healthcare stock go up 1,000 effing %? Well, because you guys are fucking gaming the system. I watched this play out with Obamacare, and I'm like, okay, well, this sounds like a good idea. Let's see how it plays out. It hasn't played out great. It hasn't.
Mm-mm.
And like, okay, before Obamacare, I was paying for my own medical for me and my son. I was Aetna, $120 a month. Now in the union, I pay $850 a month for just me.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. And then I still have copays.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I get frustrated because here's the other thing is I feel like in the healthcare system, they're more interested in treating a symptom rather than getting to the root cause of the symptom. They just want to throw meds at you. It's like these doctors are glorified drug dealers. That's what it feels like.
And a lot of that is because our system has become so broken. And like I really, I mean, you're going to kind of laugh that I'm beating the same hammer over and over again, but like it is, okay, you used to go and see a doctor. You used to have a family doctor. You would go see him. He knew you. He cared about you. You would have like this ongoing communication with one doctor. Doctors are amazing, and they are able to do a lot over a course of time. especially like repeat treatment, follow up. How did it go? What were the symptoms you had? Kind of stuff like that. Okay, who are you going to see now? Try to find a doctor in Altoona. You can't. You've got to go to the Altoona Physician Group. Try to get an appointment. You can't. You got to go urgent care. Okay, so now you're talking to a nurse practitioner or a physician assistant or a doctor. I mean, like, I'm not knocking NPs and PAs, but like you're talking to somebody, and now you're talking to somebody because of the way these insurance companies have set this up. They are on a schedule. They're expected to have X number of interactions an hour for so many hours. And that is all based on billable outcomes, and it's their job to get a diagnosis. If they don't actuate a diagnosis, they can't properly code it, they can't bill it correctly. Everything about our system is based around insurance payout.
Yeah.
And like, it is the most absurd. Like, I can't wrap my brain around how bad it is on so many levels. And like, I don't blame doctors for that. The doctors are being worked. It's crazy. I would never want to be a doc. I have a friend who just went through med school. He's in Houston. He and his wife, they're both doctors. And like, he always wanted to come back to rural PA. But he's got to work at a nonprofit that qualifies, so that yada, yada, because he's got like $500,000 in debt. You know, and like, these are the kind of things you're like, well, then go work in Houston. Yeah, man. Like, make sure that you get,
make sure you make some money.
Make sure that, well, it's because his debts can get like erased if he spends so much time working in the right kind of environments, you know? So like, I'm not going to pretend to understand it, but like the way he explained it, like he had limited options, you know, and like that sucks. And like, his job is incredibly difficult, and he runs from person to person all day, and like, it just sounds
exhausting.
Terrible. Like, what happened to the time when you could have a family doctor? You know, like, I grew up in this town where I had a childhood doctor that I saw for like 14 years. And then in high school, I made the phone calls. The oldest is 7. My parents were pretty busy. I made phone calls and found a doctor that would take me as an adult. And then I went and saw him until I was in my early 20s. And then I moved up to Erie because my wife was going to school and yada, yada. But like, yeah, I came back and was like, all right, I'll find a family doctor. Oh, it's broken.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gone. Sorry. That doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah. The only one I found around here, Dr. Hampton.
Cool.
Hampton Medical. He's direct. So you pay him like a monthly fee, and I would go, even though I had insurance, I would actually pay him, but I've been laid off for a while, so I can't afford him right now, but it's like $90 a month. And
we got to have a conversation
just
off
go
mic
see
after
him.
this, because I got to know about this. I don't know about this.
He's very talented doctor, is not quick to put you on meds, quick to figure out what's going on.
Okay.
Very, very interesting guy, but I love what he's doing.
And he's running like a private practice? Like,
he's a direct care physician, I believe is the correct term. It's Hampton Medical. But he's been doing some great things.
This might sound stupid. I don't know what that is. I don't think I've ever heard of that before. It's
really?
a direct medical? Like you pay him a fee, like he's your insurance?
And then
like,
I can go in, nothing. It doesn't cost me any money to get my blood work. It doesn't cost me any money to do this or that. He has like, if you need like vitamins and stuff like that, he has a little thing at his office there. You pay real low for it. He's doing some really cool things.
That sounds so interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I can't vouch for it because I've never checked it out. But yeah, that sounds really interesting.
Yeah, the things he's doing is very cool. Like I really like him. So
I might request a referral.
Yeah. Now it's what is your position on abortion?
So abortion is a medical procedure. Like, just like, like having your prostate removed is a medical procedure. Abortion, it is clinically necessary at times. If you are going to try to put any kind of state law in place restricting abortion, you are out of your mind, because it is a medically necessary procedure. You are going to kill people if you try to do that in a stupid way.
Can you give me examples? Because this matters, because post Roe v. Wade
Yeah.
being now it's a state
Yeah. Dude,
thing.
there are dozens of examples.
Okay.
There was a woman in Texas. She went in. She was having like the preeclampsia.
Yeah.
Like there's like these all like pre-birth kind of problems that she was having. The baby was dead. Like was going to die. There were like all these like really intense, and she could not get an abortion. Sorry, the baby's not dead. The baby was not going to survive. Like it was like a DOA kind of situation. But like this was like, okay, what are you going to do? Are you going to perform the abortion and save this woman's life? And the doctors, they were like, well, at a certain point, it's a legal liability for us.
Right.
So they had to be like, go home, monitor your symptoms. If you get really sick, come back. We'll save you from dying. You know, and she ended up there was so much issues from this because she eventually did get an infection because that's what's going to
Well,
happen in
yeah.
that circumstance.
Yeah.
She can't have children anymore.
Mm.
And like, I am citing like a single thing that I remember off the top of my head, but this is exactly what happens with bad public policy.
Mhm.
I think that like, if you have a moral stance where you're saying like, I don't think abortion is acceptable, then like, hey man, that's your position. And as far as I can tell, most of the time for people, that comes down to like an interpretation of my religious adherence and stuff like that. And like, hey, listen, that's fine. Nobody is going to force you to have an abortion.
Mhm.
Like there is no side of the argument that's like abortions for everybody all the time.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there is no, but like, I think people should be able to have the choice. And, whether or not you adhere to that religious edict or whatever, you should still have the choice. And if you choose not to, good for you. But like, if you choose to, good for you too. Like you are trying to plan your family, you're trying to plan your future. I don't think that we should be restricting it. I think if you are ever going to implement public policy, you can't ban it. You can't do anything like that. Like these are things that kill people.
Mm.
I just, I think that it is a foundational right for people to decide what they are going to do with their own body. And like at the end of the day, I find myself feeling like whenever it kind of gets down into the nitty gritty, like where's the line? What exactly, I tend to try to think about it this way. If I have two kidneys.
Mm.
If you needed a kidney, do you have a right to my kidney?
No.
Okay. In a very base level, a fetus doesn't have a right to my uterus. Like you don't have as far, like, I can understand that it is a morally complex question, and especially when we get into religious aspects of it. But at the end of the day, I believe far too strongly in individual bodily autonomy to ever force a woman to maintain a pregnancy she doesn't want to maintain.
Right. Okay. So, yeah, abortions aren't for everybody. But yeah, I suppose it comes down more to, okay, what if there's not a medical emergency?
Yeah.
Do you think that they have a right if there's not a medical emergency
To
to terminate the pregnancy?
yeah.
Okay.
I think that like that is exactly that's the I gave you the kidney example, right?
Mhm.
Like, yeah, the baby or the that baby needs that person's body to be able to survive, and that person is not obliged to do that.
Mhm.
I would never try to implement something that requires that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that will be falling under. Well, that is under states now. So
Yeah.
um,
And as much as I can understand the moral argument there, I would say it's your job to make the moral argument on an individual level. It's never something I think we should be trying to manage with state law.
right. Yeah, I'm a big free church choice. Well, I don't want the government telling me shit.
That's basically
So
that's
yeah,
basically
I
so
want you
much
to
of it
back
for
the
me.
fuck up.
It's like
Like, see, like I love babies. I love babies. And I think everybody should have as many of them as possible. But there are circumstances which to me, sometimes it may be better. I struggle with it myself a little bit, but like, how can I don't want to force my opinion on someone who's having a baby dying inside of them either.
And I have like very strong opinions about donating organs.
Yeah.
I have very strong opinion about blood donation. I
Mm.
donate blood. I donate blood I was going to say every 8 weeks. I'm trying to get back on the 16-week schedule. I
Yeah.
like the power reds. I like doing it every 2 months. For whatever reason, I got screwed up when I moved back in November and
You
did
just
like a
like the
regular
bloodletting.
donation. But I think that like the difference between being like, it is really good to donate blood and you should do it. And like, it's a moral prerogative. And like, yes, agree with all of that. Would I ever be like, we should put it in law that you have to donate blood?
No.
Whoa.
No.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. That part there where you're violating somebody's bodily autonomy is where I have to kind of be like, no.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. And I saw one other thing, and this generally falls under federal purview, but with a lot of states, like I know Virginia just decided that they would not work with ICE. What is your position on what immigration policy should be?
so when it comes to immigration, like immigration makes us better.
Mhm.
That it's part of the American
Mm.
culture. It's part of what we are. We are all immigrants. My mom's side of the family, they're Pennsylvania Dutch going all the way back,
Mm.
and like that all the way back to when they came over.
Right.
And like that is like a rich culture. They kept to themselves. The Mennonites, they had all this funny way of dressing. Hey, we even had our little cloistered extremists, right? Where they never integrated into society and they became, they speak a different language and they do all the things that like we hear all this scaremongering about when we see it like from other cultures. You know what we call those people? We call them the Amish.
Yeah.
And they're great. Like they've got their downsides, whatever. But
Yeah.
like that is part of American culture now, is that like, hey, in certain parts of Pennsylvania, you'll see a wagon rolling down the road. And like that's cool.
Mm.
That's awesome. The idea that like you should, everybody has to integrate and they have to integrate quickly and they and they come here and they have crime. Hey, what do you think the mafia was? The mafia was Italian crime from immigrants. But look,
Mhm.
that is just another part of American culture. Yeah, and it's gotten way better. Like the idea that we still have huge Italian mobs roaming. Like this is part of what we do, and the idea that we need to fearmonger about it and that we need to reject it, we need to turn away from immigration is crazy. The second part of that question is ICE, right? Right now, we are watching an extremist movement rejecting all forms of immigration, and we are watching this paramilitary force be built. And I find that really terrifying. Like, I think a lot of times it's easy to be like, when really you don't need to be freaked out.
Mm.
The ICE thing freaks me out.
Mm.
This paramilitary force that is bigger than what? It's bigger than the Space Force,
Mm.
bigger than the Marines, it's bigger than the Coast Guard, it's bigger than 3 of our branches of the service.
Mm.
And we are training this up and they're building warehouses, they're buying warehousing space around America, and we're giving them this huge, unprecedented power that like we absolutely fought to like whenever this country was founded. Part of what like the foundational things was like, no, you can't come in and just arrest people. We have habeas corpus. We have the ability to get a trial. We have you can't come in here without a warrant. And like all of these things, they're just completely going around it. They're completely destroying so many of our foundational rights. And now we're being told, oh, ICE is going to help with the elections. I'm sorry. So clearly, it is not about immigration. This is a paramilitary force to be used by one man for one purpose. And that really freaks me out. I think ICE is terrifying. I think it is the biggest threat in America. I think it's far more threatening than Iran. I think it's far more threatening than anything else we've got going on. I would do anything to stop them. If there's a way for Pennsylvania to push back against ICE and what they want to do when they come into this state, I'm for it.
May I give you a little pushback?
Sure.
Okay. Because we were talking about union workers and wages.
Yeah.
Now, I personally am laid off because they ended up giving out a lot of contracts to contractors who are not union contractors
Mm-hmm.
who could underbid the shit out of us.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here I am. And mind you, I worked with immigrants because I speak Spanish. Well, at least to a decent degree, but mostly it's Puerto Rican Spanish. So there is a difference.
Gotcha. Okay.
But these guys are coming in, they're making $12 an hour. Now,
Mhm.
normally, up until our other union president retired, we'd have been calling ICE on them.
Mhm.
So we'd have called immigration.
Yeah.
Because you're fucking up our wages.
Yeah.
So then there's also the thing when you because I've never seen it so bad in this area with illegals, and I don't care about your culture. I don't. What I care about is my fucking wages.
Oh yeah.
So there's that, and I feel like when you allow in this many people without checking who they are,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna get pushback.
Mhm.
Now, do I agree with the way the pushback's being done? I don't.
Right.
I like it's ugly.
Yeah.
And I don't like the optics of it. Like there's other ways to do this than snatching abuela,
Mm-hmm.
you know? However, at the same time, I feel like, well, you create a problem. Like even as a felon, I've had to shit and piss where I brush my teeth because that's what a fucking jail cell looks like. If you think I feel bad about some fucking immigrant coming in here and raping kids and having to shit and over where he fucking brushes his teeth, I literally do not give a fuck.
Yeah.
And I don't give a fuck if you're stealing my wages. What I would, here's my problem too, is like on the 18th, I'm interviewing. I saw you had Jessica's the article up about Jessica Holsinger and her husband Pedro.
Yeah.
I was at their wedding.
Yeah.
Me and him used to speak Spanish together all the time.
Oh, that's
He'd
cool.
help me catch up.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what happened with that case, but I'm going to dig into it a little bit more.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, no, not Pedro. Like,
Right.
that I'm not sure what happens. I need to dig into it a little bit more, but they need to make immigration a little bit faster, man. I mean, he's been doing this like 20 fucking years.
Okay. What you just said is the thing that I think really changes the conversation, right? So, like employers, they underbid contracts. They bring in exploited non-union work. They lie about it. They do all this bullshit. You have to call ICE.
Mhm.
One, you're talking about the ICE before the current craziness,
Yes.
right? I do think it's worth distinction, but
It is.
to point out, you are right. There is a real problem. And I would say one of the things I would like to see us doing a little differently is, hey, whenever we have that happening where we have these people hiring, exploited hey, why are we not going after the employers?
Exactly.
Why-
Find the shit out of them.
Jesus Christ, take the contracts away. Hey, if you blow it like that, you don't get any more public funded contracts.
Yeah.
Like these are the kind of things we could be doing to make sure that union work is prioritized and that it is the thing that we are supporting and that we are pushing back against bad labor practices,
Yes.
not necessarily against people. Now, here's the other thing. If you come illegally, this is not okay. I'm not in favor of
Yeah.
illegal immigration. When I
No.
talk about immigration, I'm talking about legal immigration. But that second part is what you pointed out that's very
Yes.
important. Our legal process for immigration sucks.
It's fucked.
It's so fucked. And it's been fucked on purpose.
Yeah.
It's been fucked because a lot of people make a lot of money off exploited workers in America. And there's a reason that we can't fix it, and that's because a lot of moneyed interest doesn't want it to be fixed. They like the idea that these people are desperate and that they can't really make ends meet except to be able to take these low-paying jobs, yada, yada, yada. They get paid under the table, all this bullshit. That sucks.
Yeah.
We've got to push back against that.
Yeah.
And where I find fault is more with the people exploiting workers than it is with the
Absolutely.
people scrambling and trying to make ends meet and trying to feed their kid.
Because you wouldn't create the incentive to come here if companies that were doing this shit
Yeah.
got fined like crazy. Right now, they get fined for one worker about the amount of one worker for a week. What's ineffective?
And that's the kind of thing. It's just like, it's just like when the insurance companies, they drag you through the mud, they lie, they cheat, they bullshit, they drag you through the mud for months and months and months. And if you get a payout, you will only get what they were going to have to pay you originally anyway. There's no fine to them. They will always, they will only ever try to do it more, because at the end of the day, there is not enough to cause an incentive for them to stop. We have to put that kind of thing into place, and prevailing wages and things like that are so key to that. And that's a huge part of why, like, learning from the labor unions and about the issues affecting them has been so helpful for me in trying to figure out what public policy for working class people should look like, because it looks exactly like that. But yeah, and Pedro is such a good example too, because there's a man, he came here illegally, right? He would tell you himself, he's not going to defend the fact that he did that. Okay, yeah, he should have done it the legal way. He didn't do it the legal way. Okay,
Tried to
came
do it
here.
the legal way.
Yeah, he came here and he made a family. He took care of his family. He got a job. He worked, and he's like a skilled worker. He did stuff.
He does great job. While I tried to get him in the union.
He did stuff all over this city. Like, look around. There's like 20 things he built just right here between driving to your place, driving from my place to yours. Like when I was talking to his wife about, like, oh, hey, like, where did he, because, dude, my grandpa, he was a carpenter, and like, dude, driving around Altoona was funny with him, because he could. I did this.
Just
I was
like
on
me.
the third floor over there, and I love that. That's so cool.
Yeah.
But talking to her about it, like you just watching her like drive down 6th Avenue, and like, okay, and like that. Okay, so why did ICE deport him?
I don't know, and that's why I want to get down to it. Like, I talked to Jessica about it a little bit, but I was at the time that it was happening, I was like, I don't know, and I'm not sure I wanted to get involved.
What ICE would say is ICE told them it was because when his wife was sick in the hospital,
when she had a heart attack,
he missed an appointment.
Yeah.
That he then later made up, and everything was fine. And he then had 14 more years of going to these appointments.
Yeah.
Okay, one, how the hell does it take 14 years for a man who has got a family here and who is working in our community and is a part of our community?
With an immigration lawyer.
Yeah.
On top of that, who he used to pay a lot of money.
Yeah.
I'd like to know who the fuck he is.
I like that. Like, how is he not a citizen? But on top of that, like, they went in and they were like, oh, well, you had a thing 2 decades ago. They're just looking. They just want to. It is because they have quotas to meet. And so every person they can scoop up, they will ship out, and they don't care. And like, when I hear when I hear people talking about, like, man, we really have a crisis in America of like good men that work hard, that take care of their families, and that like have, like this, I feel like I'm surrounded by men like that, but I understand that there's a little bit of an issue with, finding good role models in America. Well, hey, there was one.
Yeah.
What'd we do to him?
Shipped him out.
Shipped him out.
Yeah. He's taking care of kids that aren't even his.
And he loved him, and they loved him.
So
it's crazy.
Caleb, I know your timer went off.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I got to run, brother. I didn't even get to finish my beer. I was sipping too slow.
I tell you what, before we close it out, what's the one thing that you would like the audience to know about you and why they should vote for you?
I want to work for Altoona. The idea that, like, when you need to get a hold of somebody about some kind of issue you're having with the government, whether it's local or federal or whatever, and you can call me and I can be there for you, I get excited about that. I want to do that. I want to be that guy for Altoona. I would love to have my full-time job being in an office right there on Beale Avenue, just like 6 blocks from where I grew up by the Jaffa, being the guy that runs around Altoona helping folks out when they have issues. I want to do that. And then the part-time job is when I'm going to Harrisburg, and I want to work to further the cause of working class people and making sure that we get the leg up we need. We have had too long bad public policy that allows bad actors to use money and greed to influence the way that our politics works, and it works against us. And that can change. At the state level, there are things we can do to make life better for the people here, and I want to do that too.
Awesome, Caleb. Thank you. I think you made your message clear to our audience. I appreciate that a lot.
Dude, I really enjoyed talking with you, man. Thanks so much. This was cool.
Absolutely. I'm glad you came and did it. All right, people. Peace out.
Sure looked into the
My team and I know how valuable your time is, so we wanted to thank you for making Across the Table part of your day. By liking, sharing, and subscribing, you help keep us inspired and motivated to continue creating content for all of our listeners. If you have ideas for the show or would like to be a guest, please contact me via email at james@acrossthetablepodcast.com. That's james@acrossthetablepodcast.com. Thank you.
Pull up a chair, set the world aside. Let's find the truth, we keep trying.